Hey guys, it's EDDBUD, and today I'm back with something a little bit different for you. You know I take recovery very seriously in terms of my running. I've been very lucky that EDDBUD got hold of me to review one of their shoes. It's the KOZ SNPR Mid. Certainly not a running shoe, but one that I've really enjoyed for recovery. I'm going to give you my initial review of this shoe in my normal fashion, looking at the upper, midsole, outsole, and the overall value. Just to let you know, EDDBUD have sent me these shoes, but they are not paying me to make this video. Everything you'll hear today are my own honest opinions. I do want to say thanks to Amanda over at EDDBUD for sending me these shoes, and also for her very kind comments in regards to Mrs. EDDBUD and the little person that's appearing very soon. If you are watching, Amanda, I really do appreciate that, and I hope you're doing fine. If you've landed here as a new viewer, please think about hitting that subscribe button and click that bell for notifications below of when new videos are launched. It also helps the channel out massively if you give this a thumbs up. So on taking these out of the box, I had to actually grab them back from Mrs. EDDBUD. She really wanted to test them out first. As a non-elite runner, I clock up about 50 plus miles every single week, and the lure of a relaxed and very comfortable recovery shoe with a real slipper-like feel, but also that of a trainer too, has really hit the spot for me. So let's get to the upper first. So this shoe is made from a running last, meaning that the actual kind of shape of the shoe itself is set on a trainer type feel. It doesn't really look that way when you first get the shoe out, but it really does feel like that on foot. Obviously very different sorts of materials used here from a normal running shoe. We've got sheepskin and suede on the upper and the toe box respectively, and a really snug wool interior. Really does give a lovely plush feel. In the past I've said shoes like the Saucony Triumph 17 and the Asics Glide Ride were quite plush, but this really does take the crown. I was sent a UK 11.5, which is a US 12, and with the thicker insoles that are supplied with the SNPR Mid, I'm not sure I'd want to go any snugger than that. I think the shoe's really aimed at you wearing it without some socks. With some socks of thicker variety, it's a little bit snug for me. So I think perhaps going a half size up from my standard UK sizing was ideal. I'm normally a size 11, so the 11.5 was perfect. I find the materials and the finish here are really good quality, and I like the fact that the shoe's already treated with some water repellent stuff straight out the box. I have to be honest, I did spray some stuff on there as well just to make doubly sure, but in some wet weather it's been absolutely fine. That 10mm wool interior really is divine, and it feels kind of very assuring on foot. The weather did turn a tad cooler during this week where I've been testing the shoes out, and my runner's feet really did feel nice and warm and cozy in the SNPR Mids. Do note the 80% recycled wool used here. Good to see some ecological use of recycled materials here. Really is very pleasant when you first put your foot into the shoe, and I've really enjoyed the upper in terms of recovery this week. Been a pretty demanding week in terms of running. Cranked out another 10 miles this morning, around about 7 minutes 24 seconds per mile. It was warm as well, the heat has come back. I mean, the TC's a really comfortable shoe, but I've been enjoying the EDDBUD X Lab in terms of recovery. So I think for my typical scoring system, I'll give this a 2.7 out of 3, just taking off a couple of points there for a slightly snug fit. Do take note of that when you grab a pair. On to midsole now. In terms of midsole and the shoe itself really, it's actually very light. It might not look that way on appearance, but it's actually pretty light. Obviously as a bigger shoe, it's going to weigh a little more, but at 450 grams for my UK size 11.5, I don't think that's too bad at all. So the foams used within the midsole are in different gradients, with the softest of the bunch against your foot. There's an 8mm drop here, 25mm in the heel, and 17mm in the toe. Stack height here does feel a little bit like a trainer, although it's got a vastly more cushioned and slipper-like feel. The wool underfoot with bare feet feels like Saturday morning coffee here. I'm talking DJ Shadow on the turntable comfortable. The 8mm insole that's supplied with the shoe, of which it comes with 2 different insoles, is an EVA variant, and it's even got a small section in the heel which is made of memory foam. And more wool as well. There's a lot of wool here. A natural material giving a very natural feel underfoot, which certainly my body really enjoyed. Almost a calming effect actually. If the Endorphin Pro from Saucony wants you to run fast, then the SNPR Mid from EDDBUD wants you to relax and recover. There really is a Hoka type meta rocker feel about the outsole and midsole. Deckers obviously own Hoka and a few other brands. Perhaps that's where the training shoe last comes into play. You certainly feel that meta rocker when I was out walking the Hound the other day. Good to get the legs moving again, and actually quite welcomed the slightly stiffer midsole feel. There is a bit of flex there, but there is a nice bit of stiffness to it, which is what you want really with a recovery shoe. I wouldn't want something that's just ridiculously squishy. It's got a little bit of structure there and it's very welcome. There is a little bit of stability built in here in terms of the midsole and the upper. You've got this slightly rubbery heel clip, but it's certainly the underfoot cushioning here that wins the day. Hands down, this is the most comfortable underfoot cushioned feel for a non-training shoe that I've worn. When I was out in the rain, a little bit of moisture did get in via the holes here, which I might be a little bit wary at over time. So I think for my initial review on these, I'll give them a 2.8 out of 3 for midsole. Onto outsole now. So you've got a hexagonal shaped pattern on the outsole of the SNPR mid. I found it provides really good grip on pretty much any surface. Dry or wet conditions, been absolutely fine. That rubber's actually quite spongy to the touch, and certainly in keeping with the very comfortable nature of the midsole. Sometimes a full-length rubber outsole can add quite a lot of weight to a shoe, but I think as a more recovery-based shoe, with it only clocking in at about 450 grams, I think considering the amount of cushioning that's here, doesn't feel anywhere near as much as it sounds. It really is a very pleasant underfoot feel, guys. I think there's probably about a 3 to 4 mil thickness to that rubber on the outsole. I don't really see durability being a major issue for a shoe of this type. Certainly not anywhere near as important as it would be in a running shoe. So in terms of outsole, so far, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 3. I don't see any problems with it whatsoever. On to value now. In terms of value for a more quality shoe like this, that's very much geared towards a more stylish approach to recovery, I think the price is actually pretty fair really for this. I think at $150, actually for the quality that you're getting here, it's a really good price. You kind of look at a product sometimes and you say to yourself, actually, is it worth it? I think the materials and actually the build and the superb cushioning here, I think it is. Certainly going to last, that's for sure. Perhaps a lot better than some of the engineered meshes that you get on a running shoe. I think in hand it's clear that care has been taken in construction of the shoe, in terms of the materials they've used, in terms of overall comfort, but also sensation. You feel warmed and relaxed in this shoe, so you become that whilst wearing it. I've looked at a whole host of running shoes recently in terms of value. I think some of them are better than others, but for this one, for this recovery shoe, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 3 for value. So this is something I'm going to be using loads and loads over the coming weeks as I'm ramping up the miles. Longer runs will be getting a little longer, and of course my legs and my feet will be crying out for some good cushioning once I take off those running shoes. So certainly a big thumbs up from me for the Deckers X-Lab KOZ SNPR mid. That's quite a lot of words. I managed to say it all in one go at last. It's even softer than Beast's fur. Not sure what Beast would make of these. One thing to note though, I have found both cats attempting to attack this shoe at various points in the last week. So just make sure you store it somewhere safe. A very quick musical interlude for you. I dug out this album that I bought back in 2003 from the Sleepy Jackson. It's called Lovers. I'm not sure how many albums they made or whether they're very big in their native Australia, but I still really love this album. Good Dancers and Acid in My Heart are my favourite tracks on here. There's a somewhat psychedelic sort of vibe about it. At times very lo-fi, and then other times huge production on some of the tracks. I do recommend you check it out, the Sleepy Jackson Lovers. Thanks for watching through to the very end of the video today, guys. I really appreciate it. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications of when I launch those new videos. It does help the channel out if you give this video a thumbs up like and comment below about what you think of this fantastic, very comfortable recovery shoe. Share this video with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you